What's up, everybody? It's Wiley Willis from Chicago, Illinois, with my co-host
Mick Cox from Parkersburg, West Virginia.
That's right. Yeah. Welcome to Coffee to Hardcore, episode 4. Mick, we made it to episode 4.
I know it's a miracle that this is going on right now.
It's crazy that we got two just normal dudes. Maybe not normal. Just two dudes who like coffee and like hardcore, and we barely know enough about either subject, and we're making this work, and we made it to 4 episodes.
That's right.
That's awesome. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's totally amazing.
This episode is called I Have a Cabin in the Finger Lakes.
I want the job. I really do. It's just the rest of my family's in the Finger Lakes right now. I'm supposed to be in the Finger Lakes right now.
And, and we got to this name because, on accident, actually,
yes,
we were talking to Jacob of Oak and Crow Coffee, and he said he was near the Finger Lakes. And for some reason, my brain confused Seinfeld.
Hello?
With The Office. And I was thinking of the episode in Seinfeld where George says he has a cabin and drives Susan's parents to the Hamptons, not the Finger Lakes.
Let's get nuts!
So I was wrong, and I get corrected later in the Oak and Crow interview, and they say it's from The Office, the Finger Lakes. It's the one, it's like towards the end where they're finding people to replace Michael Scott, and I think Jim Carrey says it like 100 times. Can we put the clip of Jim Carrey saying it at least once right now?
I want the job. I really do. It's just the rest of my family's in the Finger Lakes right now. I'm supposed to be in the Finger Lakes right now. I told them I was on a hike, snuck away to do this interview. I got to get back pretty soon, don't worry. People disappear in the Finger Lakes.
So anyways, we made episode 4. This is the intro, and we talked to Jacob of Oak and Crow Coffee. We review Oak and Crow Coffee, which so far I think it's mine and Mick's favorite that we've reviewed so far, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Our favorite.
Yeah!
We're going to put links to all that, where to get it. We talked to Win of formerly DDC, Drink and Destroy crew, now in this amazing rad band called StrikeFirst, and they are like rock and roll oi. He's in the Fat Skins, classic oi band. Antagonizers, ATL, really good band. You should check out. We played with them before Chicago Oi Fest, and he's got some good things to say about the new record, and we are going to review the record a little later on as well. But this is the intro, and this is my co-host Mick. Say hello again, Mick.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It has been last month was extremely busy, and now we're in this next month, because when this comes out, it'll be November. So we're in Thanksgiving time, and of course, anytime there's Thanksgiving, there's pumpkin pie. So my question for you is: Are you a pumpkin pie guy on Thanksgiving, or are you an apple pie guy on Thanksgiving?
Okay, I have a question for you.
You got to answer my question first.
Hold on. What do you think I am?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say pumpkin. I'm gonna say pumpkin pie.
I love the hell out of some pumpkin pie.
Listen, my wife, like forever before, we've always gotten pumpkin pie from somewhere else, like either like from a grocery store, one that you would pick up close to where the deli and the bakery is in the grocery store. Always would get that for Thanksgiving. And then I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 5 years ago, Lindsay started making her own pumpkin pie.
That's the best.
Let me tell you something. It is better than any other pumpkin pie I have ever had. It is so good. And then, of course,
you can send me one in the mail.
I can try.
Oh, I'll take a picture of how it gets to me.
And then she makes homemade whipped cream and everything. It's unbelievable, dude. It is amazing at how good it is. Yeah. And I think
if I had an extra 7 hours, that'd come here.
It's pretty intense. Thanksgiving around here is always a little intense for us because we have two different families. Like we have my side of the family, her side of the family. We try to hit them both up on the same day. So it's a whole lot of food and
a lot of leftovers. And then, Lindsay makes a lot of it. So it's like, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thanksgiving, sounds good.
Thanksgiving and Christmas around here is not safe when it comes to the food because Lindsay is amazing. She just makes all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm glad to hear you're a pumpkin guy because it's kind of, to me, it's kind of disrespectful to be an apple pie guy on Thanksgiving. I don't know.
You know what? I agree. And I'm a fall guy. Love the fall. My favorite time of year. I even like winter. I'll take winter over summer and spring, to be honest.
Oh yes, I'm the same.
I'm a Youper, so I like the cold. And luckily here in Chicago, it gets really cold, so I win. I love it. I love the cold. So many people think I'm crazy. Like, it's getting cold. I'm like, I know. I'm so excited. Like, I hate the cold. Well, now it's my time. Shut up.
So I bet if your body didn't crazy react to the flavoring in coffee, you would totally be a pumpkin spice person. That would be your deal.
I never got into flavored coffees or flavored. I do like pumpkin donuts.
Ooh, oh yeah,
yeah. Like going to so Libby and I last weekend we went to petting zoo / pumpkin farm. We got 3 pumpkins, and then we got this homemade ice cream from this place that she goes to. Don't ask me where we went. I'm terrible with that stuff. Somewhere suburbs of Illinois. And I'm just going along for the ride. And it was really good. They had vegan ice cream, so I got to eat ice cream, and I didn't shit my pants. So that's good. Lactose. I always joke I'm a cheesehead who's lactose intolerant because I was born in Madison, Wisconsin. So it was a good time.
Awesome.
And I love the fall. It was cool seeing the goats and the animals. It was relaxing, a good getaway from the city.
Nice. Because
we live deep in the city. I'm in the city,
yeah.
And it's like trying to cross the street sometimes is a feat. Like today, trying to just cross the street to go to work because I walk to work because I only live 15 minutes from my work. Is sometimes it takes like 5 minutes just to cross the street. It's insane, and no one will stop for you. But I digress. We're getting into something else. But Coffee and Hardcore, episode 4, coming at you. What's up, everybody? Coffee and Hardcore with Oak and Crow Coffee from New York. Long Island, New York?
No, I'm up by Ithaca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're up in the Finger Lakes region.
I'm supposed to be in the Finger Lakes right now.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Mick and I tried the coffee. We did a review of it, and honestly, and this is for real, I'm not just twinkling my fingers at you here. It's the best coffee that I've reviewed so far.
Oh, well, thanks. What did I send you? The Road Crew, the End of the
Road Crew. And I'm pretty sure the Road Crew, isn't that what we ended up picking for the Up the Pups 2-minute minor coffee?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay. I remembered that, and I remember correctly, so that's good.
I got the Into the Void, and it was really good too. Like my wife loves it. Loves it.
I'm actually going to need you to send me a link how to order more. Do you sell it online?
Oh yeah. We have a website, oakandcrow.com.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mick, you know what your job is, right?
Oh yeah, Totally.
You're going to put a link to that website, right? So I can go find it?
Yes, so you can go find it.
That's cool. So, cool. Let's jump into it, Open Crow Coffee from New York. I already said that. So let's say, when did Open Crow start, and how did you get off the ground?
So it started officially in 2017. I was a head roaster for another coffee company called Gimme Coffee in this area. I was with them for about 10 years. And
you say Gimme?
Yeah, Gimme. They're another Ithaca-based coffee company. They had, up until last year, also had three stores down in the city, one in Manhattan, two in Brooklyn. But they're based up here. And there's a bunch of stores up here as well. And I started as a barista there in 2008 and then worked my way into the roasting room and then left as their head roaster. But the thing was, I used to play music a lot. And I still have a lot of friends in the industry. And, with everything, all the downloading going on, people aren't selling as many, albums, CDs, cassettes, whatever.
Right.
So
music's almost like an accessory now. People think it should be free.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, how could I still stay involved with music while doing coffee? So I decided to start Open Crow as a side project to work with bands and give them something that they could sell that's like a custom piece that, you can't download a bag of coffee. So I figured if I contacted bands and did collaborations, it would give them something they could sell on the road that couldn't be downloaded. So I started working on that. But as you know, working with bands is like herding cats. So it's hard to get started. Yeah. And while I was doing it, they were letting me. I know, by the way. The folks at Gimme Coffee were super nice, and they would let me use their, basically rent out time on their machines since I didn't have one up and running at my place. So as it started moving along, local people started asking me, "Hey, how come we don't carry your coffee in our store?" And I said, I explained to them the deal, and then I started selling it at one or two places, and it started getting traction. And the owner and CEO of Gimme and of, my boss and some other people brought me into a room and they said, "Hey, you got to make a choice. We'd like you to stay here, but you can't do both." And that was fair. And we all knew what I was going to decide. And then, they gave me a couple months to get everything together. And then I hit the ground running.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I actually have a question for you. I'm pretty sure I met you through probably one of my best friends here in Chicago, and he's actually my best man at my wedding, Mike Perlmutter. You know Mike, don't you?
Oh, I know Mike. It's been many years. I don't think I've seen him since maybe Cornerstone 2000 or 1997. It can't have been that long, but maybe.
Yeah, so he was like, awesome. You got to reach out to my buddy, and I'm like, okay. So I did, awesome. And it worked out.
Hey, Mike, if you're listening, what's up, man?
What's up? Actually, Mike and I are going to do gang vocals on the new Decline record the 24th, so I'll tell him. I doubt he listens to this show. I'll tell him you said hey.
Nice, thank you.
He hears my voice way too much. He doesn't want to hear me any more than he has to. But Mick, you got any questions at all?
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you said you started this kind of to link up with bands and kind of, give them something else to maybe sell on the road or whatever. So what bands have you got to work with so far?
Let's see. Right now we're working with Danny Diablo from Crown of Thorns, Scarhead, and his solo hip hop stuff. Hoya from Madball. Murphy's Law. Let's see.
I saw you had a picture with Tim Armstrong also.
Oh, so
from Rancid. What's up with that?
I really, really want to do something with Tim, but the way that happened was another person that we're working with is Rico out of Kansas City, who goes by Boss Hooligan Sound System. And he was on tour. He's done a lot. He's a DJ, does a lot of like old ska and reggae and stuff like that. And he was on tour with Rancid, and it turns out Tim was his morning coffee buddy every day. So he's like, yeah, send us some bags while I'm out on the road. And I was like, okay, but you have to send me pictures back of Tim with the coffee. And that's how that came about. And I sent Tim a big box of coffee at one point, and I never heard anything from him, but we'll see. Those are my two. I want to do something with Tim, and I want to sit down and have coffee with Vinny Stigma from Agnostic Front.
Oh my gosh. I have so many great Vinny Stigma stories from playing with him, and he's a character in the best way possible.
I've never met the guy.
He's kind of a smaller guy. I'm kind of a smaller guy too, and he's smaller than I am. But he
just has a huge presence.
Huge presence. He like lights up the room. He makes you feel welcome. It's being around Vinny Stigma is almost like drinking a cup of coffee. He just like wakes you up, and you're present. Like he's demanding. You know what I'm saying?
I've never heard
he's like, look at me, I'm Vinny Stigma, and you're like, I'll gladly listen to what you have to say. Because awesome. We were like, Vinny, we're trying to take some footage for a documentary or a music video. Is it cool if we ask you some questions? And he like lights up and he's like, let's do it. It's just like, what do you guys want to talk about? It was great. It was a good time. So that would be a great person to have coffee with for sure.
Definitely.
So do you like talk to these guys and get kind of like what they're into and then make something off of that, or
what I'll usually do is, I'll contact somebody or they'll contact me, and we'll sort of talk about what they like in coffee and what's their interest is in doing it. And then I'll just send them a box of samples, and then they'll get back to me and say, I like this one, but maybe a little like this, and can you do this? And either they'll say they'll like the Ethiopia Guji, but they'll want it roasted a little darker, or they'll want me to make a blend for them, and then we go from there. And they have complete control of the labels as long as they're not super obscene. Because we sell in grocery stores and coffee shops and online, so I don't want to go completely Gigi Allen with my labels and,
right.
maybe lose some family business, but I also don't want to be so stiff that, we're not having any fun with it. But then, once we get everything decided, I do all the printing of the labels, all the roasting, bagging, put it on the website. And, they get a cut from every bag I sell. And, if they want to sell, when there are shows again, or if they have a storefront, they get everything at a wholesale price. And this way, it's sort of like, I set it up sort of like an old school 7-inch deal where say you did a 7-inch with Revelation or whatever. And, they'd give you a bunch for free, and then you might get, $1 for everyone that's sold. I don't know what Revelation's model was, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, we did that with Up the Pups, right? Like I was like, hey, I want 10 bags. I'm going to I paid for shipping, and then I sent you whatever.
So exactly.
How did I do that? Yeah. Like I paid you what the overhead was, and then we ended up giving $5 a bag to the shelter.
Yeah. And we don't move a lot of it these days, but it's still up on the site, and every bag that sells.
Really? It is?
Oh yeah. Unless you wanted me to take it down. I'm going to order a
few bags. No, I didn't. That was going to be my next question. Actually, I was going to ask if it was still up there and if I could order some.
Absolutely. And we only sell a few a month, but we still send them $5 for every bag that we sell.
That's really amazing. So I don't want to put you on the spot. And Mick already knows where I'm going, don't you, Mick?
Uh-oh.
I do.
All right. Bring it.
So I don't want to put you on the spot at all. About collaborating with Coffee and Hardcore, making a coffee, because we could talk about this off the show too if you want. But Mick and I, in November, we really wanted to do kind of like a T-shirt No, did I say November? I meant
It's in November.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Because February, this airs in November, but yeah, February is when we're going to start our second season. And we want to do T-shirts, coffee mugs, and we really want to have coffee. That was one thing we talked about. Awesome. That was one thing we talked about. Mick gets his wish. Now that means Mick gets two things. Remember? Tell me, when we started this podcast, before we even had episode 1 up, what did you tell me you wanted to do, the future plans?
One was a coffee mug.
Yeah. What? Say it again.
One was a coffee mug. And the second was our own coffee.
Yeah. And then what was the third thing?
The third thing is that people would send us free coffee.
That's been happening. That's been happening. No, the record label.
Oh yeah, the record label was the third thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So since this is since I talked to my wife and got the okay, and it's November, we can announce it that Coffee and Hardcore is officially doing a digital label.
Yeah.
Officially,
we already have stuff out.
That's true. And we're expecting a call from Larry, who's putting out this compilation with 30 great bands on it. Hoods is on it, a lot of other great bands. My band and Mick's band, To Live as Sons, his band After Zao is on it. And it's to raise money for suicide prevention. And so he texted me and said he was calling in. I don't know. Did you see that?
He is. You want me to admit him now?
Yeah. What a perfect segue.
I know. What a perfect segue. Here he comes.
That was on accident. Is he coming in? Dead air. This is where we put a commercial for Oak and Crow Coffee. Oak and Crow Coffee, New York's finest coffee.
It says he's on mute. Let me try to get him. See if I can.
He's muted himself?
He muted himself. I'm trying to unmute him.
So you said you're by the Finger Lakes, eh?
People disappear in the Finger Lakes.
Yes.
You know, I have a cabin up in the Finger Lakes.
I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll take you up there sometime. That was a Seinfeld reference if you didn't catch it.
No, I actually never watched a lot of Seinfeld.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's also from The
radio
Office.
Show.
Oh, I don't watch The Office either.
Come on, man.
What? Are we gonna have buttons where we can make sounds from now on, like oink oink?
Yes.
Yeah, we need that. Where do I buy that? You don't watch The Office or Seinfeld?
Oh no.
That shit's got to change. You'd love it.
Although I did just finish watching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. My wife and I finished the whole series.
That show is so good.
Yeah, I have to admit, I prefer him doing that than on the show Seinfeld.
You know what? I love Seinfeld.
Hello?
Don't get me wrong. I love it. I just don't think his stand-up's funny.
I don't know that I've ever seen his stand-up.
I can't get into it either.
I can't. What's up, Larry?
What's up?
It was funny. We were just talking about the comp, and I was like, "Oh, he texted me. He said he's coming on."
I was spacing out doing comp stuff, and then totally forgot to call in.
It's all good. Introduce yourself. We're gonna segue a little bit, and then we'll come back to Oak Crow. You got your 15 minutes.
Sweet. My name is Larry Passanier. I play guitar and vocals in a band called X Iron Sharpens Iron X, and we are putting together an awesome comp full of some awesome people that are all donating a track and their time and their hearts to assist in suicide prevention. There's some great bands on it, and I was in the middle of getting some of the bands together when you guys talked about wanting to be a big part of it too, and that was amazing. And then Steven from Straight Edge for Christ wanted to get involved. So it's just been a lot has happened really fast, but it's been amazing. So it's like a lot of good things are to come, and a lot of people have been coming together for this compilation, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. Just name some of the bands that are on this thing.
there's some a little bit of all over the U.S. too. Blood In Blood Out from Indiana, Hoods from California, Vane, 2 Minute Miner, of course. What's Your Damage? Hobo Stew, which is a sweet grind band from Detroit. Smash Your Enemies, Annie Up. Of course, Worst Self, which is another great band from Michigan. Joel's other project, Walk Fearless, is playing a song on there too.
I bought his cassette tape for that project. I love that, his solo stuff.
It's so good. Like,
I know, it's really good.
Like everything that he's ever done vocally or anything.
Oh yeah, Brothers, amazing.
Yeah, Brothers is a huge inspiration for me growing up. I mean,
same.
And he's just a solid, awesome dude. Like, so, I mean, when there's good people making great music, it's like I can't support them enough.
Yeah, and so what gave you the idea to do it for suicide prevention?
Well, like when I first released my EP, because I'm a suicide survivor. So a year ago, I went through some troubling times and attempted to take my own life. And thankfully, thank God, I wasn't successful in it. My wife was there.
Amen.
But after that, I was like, I started seeing a psychiatrist and just people that, you know, the tools that not everybody thinks to use, like the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So after that, I put out my EP and all the physical copies for that. And, you know, we did tapes. You guys did tapes for me for that, which was amazing. And I appreciated. All that went to
all that money goes too, right?
Right. And I was like, well, you know what? I did what I could do with my stuff, but I'd love to get more people involved to try to do something even bigger for suicide prevention. And it wasn't for suicide prevention right away. We were trying to think of multiple causes, but that still is just the one that, you know, was on the tip of the iceberg. Well, all of us were like, yeah, the world needs it right now. There's so many people struggling right now with mental, you know, struggles and depression, especially in the midst of COVID. You know, suicide numbers have doubled.
It's gone up, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's over doubled.
I heard that.
But no, I mean, after that, and it's just so many people. When you get to that state, like I have a lot of friends, you know, that, you know, a lot of people have lost a lot of loved ones to suicide within, especially the last year or so. And I just wanted to try to include as many people, and so we can all reach out to more people so that they know that they're not alone in their struggles. I think a lot of people think that, you know, they're alone and nobody cares about them. I mean, because there's a lot of people too that aren't believers, so they don't have, you know, that stability and having a relationship with God either. So sometimes those people struggle, I think, a little bit harder because they really feel alone. So
yeah,
I mean,
would you be opposed to getting a little personal, deep, and real quick?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Or you want to keep it lighthearted?
No, I can get real. That's fine.
Okay, so I don't want to overstep. So if I do, it's fine if you don't want to answer. But what drove you to thinking that the only way out was to take your own life?
A lot of childhood stuff builds up, just because, you know, when you get to a mind frame of thinking, it's not something that you start thinking about just then and there. It's something that you develop over a year. It's like when I was talking to the person that was my psychiatrist, or somebody that I was trying to talk through these issues with, she's like, you've programmed your brain to just think less and less of yourself throughout the years. So I had zero confidence. And I had a really bad anxiety. So bad enough to where I would think about one thing that most people would dismiss as just a silly thought or something that you wouldn't think twice about. And I would play out the scenario in my head over and over again until it became a fact. Like it was something that was definitely happening right then and there. And there was no way I could prevent it, even though it was something that was usually pretty silly and something that I shouldn't have even thought twice about. But stuff like that, health issues, family issues. There's a lot of different things like that. And it all just kind of built up until I hit like fight or flight, and I hit flight. So,
do you think that health like body health issues, do you think that actually affects your mind? Like, do you think if you're healthier body, you have a healthier mind?
To a degree, I do. But I definitely think that, like, I started doing keto and stuff and everything before this, so I actually was not in bad health per se. It was more just like bad mental health because I was beating myself up about things I shouldn't have.
Sure.
Just taking on more than what you can handle. You know, any normal person can only take on so much stress and, you know, worry. And unfortunately, I'm somebody that likes to bear a lot of burden when it comes to worrying and stress. I get that from my grandpa.
Well, you're a hard worker too. Like, you always seem to be doing something and doing it 100% and making sure it gets done. And in the music industry, you're kind of a unicorn. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
And that's why I really like working with you, because you take it seriously. And like you were saying, I was working on the comp. I was working on doing this stuff for bands. I was working on, you know, you're not seeing any money from any of this. You're not financially gaining anything. You're doing this because you love it and because you love people and you want to get this message out and you want people to be safe. You want them to be mentally safe, you know?
Right.
So that's huge.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I grew up in the hardcore scene. And to me, that was what the hardcore scene was all about. It was people look at you as outcast depending on, you know, where you grew up. And I mean, like, I know when I was growing up and I was first straight edge, people looked at me like I was crazy because people would buy me drinks or whatever, not to say no. But like when you're all put together, it's like that's where you can belong and be with one another and thrive. So it's like, then you can do the outreach and build those friendships and, you know, look at, you know, we're Self Brothers, me and you, like, we all met.
We've known each other for a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah. How long ago do you think? 15 years, maybe?
Probably. Yeah. Because I mean, I was in Time of Plague when you were in Their Teeth, and we played lots of shows.
That's what I like about you guys. Like, you were in this like brutal ass metal band, and I was in this like indie punk band, and we played shows together, and it worked. Like, people loved it, you know. Yeah, it was fun.
No, I mean, that's what it's for too, is like let people know they're not alone, but then just to build more friendships. Cause, you know, as you get older, like when you're younger, you're like, yeah, I want to tour. I want to make money. This is what I want to do for a living. And I think sometimes you lose sight of this. Like, no, the whole point is just to build friendships and have experiences that you can look back on when you're older. It's not about money or anything like that. It's just about, you know, sharing the love with each other.
Yeah, and I think the older I got, the more I really understood that too, is like, okay, this is a hobby, and life is, like you just said, life is building these friendships and building these relationships, and those are the things that actually last, because bands will come and go, and that, you know, that kind of stuff will just fade away, even though you might start another band, but that's where the friendships are, you know?
Exactly. I mean, that's what made this comp so awesome and special to me too, is a lot of these people I've had relationships with for years, like Blood In Blood Out. Yeah. I've known Darren from Blood In Blood Out for over a decade, from playing shows with him and setting shows up for them. I've known
Drink Their Blood. You've known Jeff.
Yep, I know Jeff. I know all those dudes. And even Mike Koods. I used to play shows with him when they'd come through and we'd play shows together in Grand Rapids.
That's what you're telling me. I was like, how in the world do you get hoods on this thing? And you're like, that dude's rad.
Yeah, he's a killer dude. He wants to do whatever he can to help other bands. And he has a lot of love for, you know, the community and the hardcore scene. And that's how a lot of the bands on the label that's
how it should be. You know, you get in this big band, this bigger band, and people look up to you. It's like, that's when it's the most important to be cool and to help.
Exactly.
You know, so many people get to that point where they become like iconic in a way, and then they're like, you know, I put in my time. I don't need to help anybody. And it's like, but now you're in the position where you can really help.
Right.
And that's cool that he does that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, and all the other bands too. I mean, Annie Up and Smash Your Enemies are all really cool dudes that really wanted to be a part of it. I know I was really, really happy when I heard Murph from Skeletones is opening back up, and they're opening up at their old location. Because
you don't even know how many memories that flooded back when you posted that.
I'm just beyond stoked. I'm like, even if I wasn't in a band, I'd be wanting to form a band just so I could go and play at Skeletones again.
Dude, some of the best shows.
Exactly. And Murph has just a giant heart.
Oh, he's a rad dude. Really is. I remember I read the story about him. I didn't know wasn't he in like a hair metal band or something?
I don't know about that.
Or a metal band, and he had long hair at one point? Because ever since I've known Murphy, he's been bald.
Right. Yeah, I think he might have been in like a metal band or something like that. I know
he's a Christian.
You know, yeah, he stopped Skeletones the first time so that he could be a youth pastor.
Was that when it was upstairs in the coffee shop?
No, it was even after they moved it downstairs, because Murph was still running it when it was downstairs too. He sold it. Then it became the mixtape, but you know what?
To be honest, I never liked the mixtape.
No, me neither.
I played there a few times and it just wasn't my thing. That owner, I don't know, something didn't jive with him and me.
Well, he tried rubbing things wrong. Like it would have been like if we would have opened up the venue and be like, okay, well, we're straight edge, so nobody can smoke cigarettes outside. Like he was vegetarian, so he wouldn't let people like eat beef jerky on property. And
I remember that.
I'm just like, okay.
I remember our guitar player at the time was like, he wanted a hamburger, and the guy was like, no. He's like, do you know a place to get a hamburger? Do you know a place to get a hamburger? Oh, if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Like shit like that was just like, what? Dude, come on.
It's like everybody, different strokes for different folk. I mean, I'm great for him for being vegetarian or whatever, but that's just like, I don't know. Like when I was younger, I can fully admit that I was an asshole plenty of times. I wore the kill your local drug dealer hoodie and all that stuff when I was first straight edging in, the really heavy bands. And as I get older, I'm just like, yeah, that's not me. When you do things like that and you have an attitude like that, you have a tendency to push people out of the scene that you're trying to build. Yeah,
it almost reminds me of, do you remember, Mick, you probably remember this being in the Christian scene. Do you remember that Rock for Life?
Yes.
Back in the 90s? So they had this thing, and they had made hoodies and stickers and shirts, and they made a big deal. Abortion is homicide, right? It was like all these Christian kids were wearing this abortion is homicide shirt. And it always rubbed me the wrong way. I couldn't stand those hoodies. It's like, okay, you're making this into like a slogan when there's people who are suffering who actually had abortions, and they see this and they completely freak out and melt down, and
they relive all those emotions.
Yeah, it's just, it's brutal. And actually, our t-shirt company, we print all the shirts for them and for all those 90s Christian metal and punk bands. And I remember when they switched over to us to print, they wanted to print those. And Darren, the guy who runs the shop, my boss, was like, he actually had a talk with him. He's like, look, I don't think we should print these. I don't think this is a good idea. I think this is going to turn more people away. And they listened to him, and they started they still print some sketchy things here and there, but it's a lot better now. It's more thought out.
And that's good because abortion isn't ever nobody's ever like happy about it, but that person has to live with that for the rest of their lives. I mean, do they really need somebody to rub their nose in what they did? And sometimes, there's different cases for everyone, and I think that they should still have the right to be able to have that done safely. I mean, that's one of the things where unless you're a woman, I really don't think you can have an opinion on the subject.
I agree. I think the tough thing is when I was living in New York, after living in Chicago for a little while, I lived in kind of like this Christian squat house, and it wasn't a squat house. It was more like a Christian punk house. And we had like 18 people living there, and we turned the basement into like 8 different bedrooms with curtains, that kind of deal. And this girl across the hall from the bathroom had that abortion is homicide sticker on her door. And we had these people over from the vegan deli, the girls that worked at the vegan deli, and they were sitting on the couch, and this one girl's like, "Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom," and we're like, "Oh, okay, the bathroom's over there to the right, whatever." So all of a sudden, she comes like down the hallway crying and storms out the door, and we're like, "What in the world? What just happened?" And her friend's like, "I'm gonna go check on her. This is weird. I'm sorry." And her friend comes back in after being out there for like 10 minutes, and she's like, "Oh, my friend had an abortion about a year ago, and she's really like ate up and sad about it, and she saw that sticker, and it really did a lot of harm to her. We're gonna have to go." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that sticker."
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, what? I mean, or like, I just don't understand what the point is, other than to try to shame somebody for something, and you don't really know the reason that they might have done that. I mean, you can't fault somebody for something like that. I mean, just like, even though like we're straight edge and stuff like that, like I don't ever you see people like condemning people like on, the group pages and stuff for being drug addicts or things like that. I'm like, why don't you think about trying to assist them or give them an ear to be able to talk to, not everybody, most people aren't a drug addict because they want to be addicted to drugs.
Oh, for sure.
Straight edge isn't to try to be holier than thou and, say, "Oh, well, you do drugs, so you're a terrible person." No matter what, we're supposed to love people and try to help them become better people. You're supposed to be straight edge for yourself, not to try to, rub other people's noses in it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Same thing with like that with abortion. It's one of those things. I just think you should try to be a good person and, I don't know, try to love people through their bad situations.
I totally agree with you. But Larry, I know your wife is leaving for a week or two, right?
Yes, sir.
And I know you only had a certain amount of time, and we're trying to plug this comp for suicide prevention. But we are going to let you go so we can finish our conversation with Oak and Crow. And we thank you so much for being on the show, and go spend some time with your wife.
Well, definitely.
When is this dropping? Is this trying to drop by Thanksgiving? Physical?
Yeah, I want to. Like, I'm going to bust my tail, and I'm getting all the live photos from bands because the whole inside of the layout is going to be like old school, like hardcore thrash, like poster, just like collage style. And I'm going to work on that, and I want to have the order put out by the end of next week at the latest for physical copies, so that we got plenty.
But we're going to try to have it out by Thanksgiving, right?
Absolutely. So hopefully that comes in, because I mean, if it comes in sooner than that, I mean, we'll try to make it available as soon as we both have physical copies in our hands.
Yeah, we just want to know so we can announce it on the show. Because this is coming out in November, but
by at least Thanksgiving.
Okay, cool. By at least Thanksgiving. And Coffee and Hardcore, Mick and I are proud to be sponsors of this comp, and we thank you so much for letting us do that and for letting us get on board and assist you in any way that we can, have it be little or big, whatever you need.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys jumping on board with it and just being awesome people in general. I love you, both of you guys.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
Love you too, brother.
Yeah.
Love you guys. You have a good one, man.
You too.
Hey, we'll talk to you later. We'll have you on the show again when we make an announcement about something that you, me, and Mick are going to do in the future.
Sounds amazing to me, man.
You know what it is. Mick knows what it is. I know what it is, but no one else does.
Not a clue.
All right, my brother.
As I hang up, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you for your time. Love you too, man.
Thank you. Later.
All right, we're back with Oak and Crow. I'm so sorry.
I can't wait to hear that comp.
Yeah, it's got some great bands on it, man. I'm excited for it. Mick,
yes, sir.
I get some questions.
Wait, Mick, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Ooh, even better.
So last time I was at Cornerstone, it was 97.
Okay.
Were you still with Zayo at that show? And did I meet you there?
Let me think. So that
you would have been, right?
No, not 97, because my last show.
Is that Blood and Fire?
No, that would have been my last show. Was before Cornerstone with Earth Crisis and I cannot remember the other band.
I remember I think that was the first time I saw Zayo. That year, I believe that's the year I played there with Clank. And outside the Zayo tent, there was a half pipe, and some dude broke his ankle. It was so gnarly, like his foot was pointing a different direction.
Ooh.
Oh, it was brutal. Anyway,
that wasn't me.
So
but how do you, how spit it out?
How?
So I didn't know that you played with Clank. That's crazy.
Yeah, I played with a few bands. Yeah.
Tell them the other bands.
What's that?
Tell them the other bands.
I was one of the original members of The Blamed.
Boom.
And then
did you know that, Mick?
I did not know that.
Yeah, did the first Left Out album.
He was on 21.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, I wrote half that album with Brian. It was that was a really funny process. And then he called me up.
You were on the Working Class album with Left Out, right?
No. Pride Kills.
Oh, Pride Kills. Okay.
Yeah, the first one. I was actually living in New York, and he was in Ohio at the time. And he calls me up, and he's like, "Hey,
Brian,
Brian Gray." And he's like, "Hey, I got us a record deal." I was like, "Dude, we don't have a band anymore." He's like, "Just hear me out." He's like, "Write 6 songs and meet me in Ohio." And we met up at Mike Porter's place, I believe.
12th and Middle.
And actually, during one of the practice sessions, unless I have this wrong, one of their friends was hanging out, and she's like, "Hey guys, if anybody's interested, the Business is playing tonight." And everybody turns and looks at me, and I was like, "I gotta go." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll see you later." And it was,
he knew.
Oh man, it was one of the best shows I've ever seen, except the fact that right after the Business played, we didn't know, but there were all these neo-Nazis in the back. Obviously, the place is the place was full of skinheads, obviously, but all the neo-Nazis were way in the back where we couldn't see them. And then after the Business played, me and my new friend were just talking about how awesome it was. Then we heard some yelling, and we saw this really tall neo-Nazi just lean back and punch a woman in the face. And then the entire place erupted in violence. And the woman looks at me, she's like, "We gotta go." I was like, "Yeah, let's go." It was
that's crazy.
Ohio's a rough spot.
Yes.
That's not the show where that's not the same show. And so that wasn't the show where Brian and Jeff got hit with baseball bats. That was later.
No, they didn't go. They sent me, and they stayed back in the house. Okay. They didn't have any interest.
Oh, gotcha.
I once
freaking neo-Nazis.
I once played a show in Cleveland one time with it was us and 6 Feet Deep.
Yes.
Pretty sure Strong Arm was there, Shy Elude, and Integrity, and for some reason One Life Crew got to play.
Oh, wow.
That was
a lineup.
Yes, and that was a mess. And that was right around the time where they got busted for saying a bunch of stupid stuff and One Life Crew. And then it wasn't too long after that, we went and saw 6 Feet Deep play it wasn't a festival, but it was like a huge list of bands in this warehouse. And Integrity played, and they decided to let One Life Crew play 3 songs. And that was the infamous show where me and Steve came off the stage and punched that girl. And basically got kicked off of, I think they were on Victory then. They got kicked off of Victory for that. Because, of course,
as they should have.
It was insane. And we all had these gave out passes, and they had passes to where we could get backstage where 6 Feet Deep was and some other guys that we knew. And we turned them in because we were going to leave after Integrity. And then all that crap happened. And we were like, "Go out the back door." And so we tried to go out the back door, and the security guard was like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Oh, we just turned in our passes." So we had to go through the huge mess. Cops came. I think and Jesse got the front end of his brand new car. Somebody kicked it in. It was an insane night. Like,
all violence aside, do you remember who was singing for Shy Halud at that point? Was Geert singing for them?
No, it was Chad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first guy, Chad, who's now in what's the Newfound Glory, the guitar player, Chad. He was the original singer for Shy Halud.
Yeah. Man, you guys are making me miss playing shows. It's killing me.
No, no one's really playing shows right now.
Well, yeah. But the thing is that the area that I'm in, it's heavy bluegrass and reggae.
Oh. There's some good reggae out there.
No, I love reggae, but the thing is, like, there's no hardcore scene in this area. I mean, if you go about an hour from here to Syracuse, obviously, all the Earth Crisis and, all those bands are going to be up there. But in the Ithaca area, there's really nothing going on, which is weird because in the 80s, I think it was Pyramid Studio was a place where Anthrax and SOD and a bunch of bands recorded albums. But there's nothing heavy in this town anymore.
That's crazy.
There's a huge noise scene.
It's really crazy because Two Minute Minor, I think it was it might have been 2 years now, maybe a year ago. I don't know. We went and played. If I could talk, I'd tell you. We went and played Brooklyn, and Mike had been telling me stories about Brooklyn. And we show up, and it's like all the walls are spray painted and everything. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome and sketchy. It was like super hipstery. It was weird.
What club was it?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. There was like this fancy club. I guess I could hold on. I can look it up. But there was like this fancy club beneath it, and then you walked up like tons of stairs that you don't want to carry all your equipment up, but you had to anyways. What is it?
Knitting Factory, maybe?
I don't know. I'm trying to look it up here. Hold on a second. But it was like this really nice club on the bottom, and then up top it looked like it was the really nice club's like crack addicted brother or something. Like it was pretty bad, but it was really fun to play. And we played with some great bands. And he was like, "Where are you guys from?" Talking to Bob, and I'm like, "Oh, we're from Chicago." He's like, "What? No way, get out of here." He's like, "Chirac? I would never go there." And I'm like, "What? This is New York."
Oh, it doesn't really matter, but
well, now it does. I got it in my head. You know how that goes, or at least for me.
Oh, before I forget, while you're looking that up, I was letting you know who we did collaborations with, and I gotta let you know we also do one with Mr. Lee, talented artist, DJ, old school graffiti guy from the city. And then we do one with one of my closest friends, Mel, and it's a union-supported coffee. He's an old school union industrial painter, and we just released a collaboration with him. And if you're a union, you get a discount in it.
Awesome.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then I also have to mention we have an ongoing thing with Steve Crandall, who was one of the owners and founders of FBM, BMX company. And now that FBM is no longer, he's doing a thing called Rad Share, and they're raising money to like get kids helmets and bikes and stuff like that for, that might not be able to afford it. Like he's just a super, super sweet dude. And
how'd you get hooked up with him?
So I've been riding BMX since the early 80s. And when I discovered FBM in the 90s, they were like all about like blowing cars up and Motorhead and, just all kinds of craziness, drinking, breaking bottles over their head and just like riding really hard and living harder. They're a bunch of rednecks, sort of.
Was there a documentary about those guys?
No, they have a bunch of videos out. And my wife and I,
sounds very familiar.
Instead of getting wedding rings, we took our take on their 10th anniversary DVD cover, and we got both of that got tattooed on the back of our necks because we were just so into what they did, and we were into bikes and that whole thing. We're nerds, whatever.
We're nerds. So I found it. It's El Cortez in Brooklyn, New York.
Never been there, I don't think. Huh.
No?
Interesting. No, I don't know.
Well, that's my story.
Most of the shows I went to in the city were either like ABC No Rio or
yeah.
I can't remember if there were shows or just hangouts at C Squat, and then the wetlands, stuff like that.
So you're from New York then, right?
Not the city. I'm from about an hour and a half north, a city called Newburgh, which
Okay.
kind of grimy. But
So how did you get in? How did you get hooked up with Brian Gray from The Blamed?
so I moved a lot. Up until I was 30, I probably moved every 6 months to 2 years since I was born. I was just constantly moving around, and it's a long story that I'm not even gonna get into. But at one point when I moved back to the Bay Area when I was 16, I was in a guitar shop where Michael, Brian's dad, worked. And I put up a flyer looking for a band because I had just left New York, and I was in a band previously, my first hardcore band called As One, after the Warzone song. And it was a lot of fun. We got to play with like Uppercut, Outburst, Mucky Pup, Biohazard. Like we played some good shows upstate. And
That's awesome.
I'm hungry for it. So we end up in the Bay Area again, and I put up a flyer looking for a band. And Michael comes out and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm new to the area looking for a band." And he looks at the flyer. He's like, "Ugh, you got to call my son, Brian. He loves that punk rock shit." Pardon my language.
Because he's a hippie guy, right?
Yeah.
Brian's dad? Yeah.
I think his mom and dad both are in that. They might be in the Grateful Dead Touch of Grey video, but I'm not positive.
Oh, no way. I got to ask him about that.
You got to ask him. But anyway, so he gives me Brian's number, and we start talking, jam a little bit, and we started some random projects together. And he introduced me to like, what song was it? I think he played me Space Truckin', the Vengeance cover of Space Truckin'.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
yes.
And the first Crucified album. And,
the best.
And we just started, talking, hanging out, and.
Wait, did he show you the Crucified? Like you'd never heard him before?
I never heard him. No.
Oh, did it blow your mind when he played it for you?
Yeah, I was really surprised because before that,
this was Christian?
The only Christian band I ever heard before that was Stryper. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a huge, huge 80s rock fan, and the guitar work is great. So we, I guess I had moved again and then come back. And while I was back in New York, he had started The Blamed with a few other people. Mark, who's now in
Jim, right? Was Jim the original drummer?
No, this is way before Jim.
Oh.
Yeah,
look at that.
The only thing out was a hand-done, like, 4-track demo called Pay the Rent with stick figures on the cover.
Oh, my gosh. I'm learning some new things.
He asked me to, we were still in contact, and he's like, "Hey, I got this band together. Do you want to play?" I was like, "Absolutely." So we start playing, and we're playing places like, so his parents ran, I don't want to give too much away, just in case.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody has secrets. So.
Oh, I got you.
But anyway, we had this awesome practice space that was the punkest thing you could imagine. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so we started playing shows at like Gilman Street, some other places, and which is
he's telling me about that.
Armstrong. He was at one of our shows, and he comes up after the show, and he's like, "Hey, I like what you guys are doing. We'd like you to play some shows with us in Oakland." And I about freaked out because
of course,
this was before their first album was out, and I would see them like at least once
before Rantis first album was out.
Yeah.
So was these Op Ivy times?
It was
or no, was in between.
But before they released their first album, and of course,
so like so he had quit, or not quit, but Op Ivy had fallen apart, and then
yeah,
gotcha.
But anyway, so we wrote all the stuff for the first album, 21, and then we made this.
But Jim played drums on 21, didn't he?
Yeah. So we packed up. I had a VW Vanagon. We packed up. We moved to Huntington Beach, and that's where we got everybody else together. And that's when I first went to the green room, met everybody there, and it kind of blew my mind. I got to meet Jeff Ballou and the whole cast of characters. It was awesome. And yeah, Jim played on that and he wrecked it. It was great. I don't mean wrecked.
So how did you guys get in contact with Jim? Because I don't even know that story.
I don't even know. Brian would just tell me weird things. Like we would have practice and, the band was sort of on and off, because any story that he tells you about me being flaky is 100% true. So yeah. So, the band was kind of on and off, or at least I was on and off. But he calls me up one day. He's like, hey, I got us a record deal. I was like, Brian, so this is not too long after the whole Tim Armstrong thing. We were supposed to start playing shows with them. They broke up. I don't remember why. I'm going to assume it was my fault. Flaky guy.
Wait. Back up real quick. Who broke up?
Blinked. So we stopped playing for a bit. And then...
Oh, you guys broke up.
Yeah. This was before we moved down to Huntington Beach. Sorry, let's go back. So Tim says he wants us to play shows with Rancid in Oakland. We're stoked. Yeah. We break up not too long later for a little while. Then Brian calls me up and he's like, hey, I got us a record deal. And I was like, what do you mean?
So no shows happened with Tim, unfortunately.
No, that was brutal. And then he's like, hey, I got us a record deal. And I was like, dude, we're not even a band. He's like, songs together. This was sort of a thing with me and Brian. He would just call me up and be like, we're going to do this, write some songs. Let's go. I was like, all right.
He said you were great.
We get everything together.
I think when we were talking about doing that Blamed Resurrection album or whatever you want to call it, he brought you up. He's like, it'd be cool if we could get him to play guitar, and told me some stories, but said you were a super busy dude. And I didn't even connect the dots then that you were the same person.
Yeah. So he tells me, like, I got us a record deal. Let's do this. So we get it together. And somewhere in there is when he did everything with Jim and got all that set up. He got, what's his name? Eric Churchill to play bass. And I'm trying to think if there had to have been somebody else in the band. I'm missing somebody, and I'm going to feel really bad at some point.
Well, Brian, was there two guitar players?
Yeah,
Did Brian play guitar? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was singing also, right? Because Jeremy wasn't in the band yet.
No, that was pre-Jeremy. Jeremy came in because I got flaky again and left. And
so you weren't on the greatest Blamed album of all time.
Braille? No. Who knows?
Do you ever regret that?
No, because the thing is, I feel bad that I was so flaky, but I don't regret it because I got into
learning process,
traveling and experience, and I did some train hopping for a while, stayed in some squats, hitchhiked, and just did a lot of life experience stuff, which was awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, yeah, we get down there, we record. Jim was awesome. While we're in the studio, a lesser-known band called POD just happened to be there. So they...
Nice. Was this like Snuff the Punk era or before?
This was, I don't even know. I had never heard of them at the time. They were just kids hanging out at the studio. So...
crazy.
Yeah, it's totally...
so crazy. These stories are awesome.
Yeah, it was that was a nutty time. Sorry.
That's great. Sorry, I keep asking questions in between. I just love these, backstories of how everyone knows each other and how it all came about. It's just crazy. The world seems so small when you start to talk about punk and hardcore. It's just insane.
So with the Blame, did you play Cornerstone in the barn? Because I think 21 had come out at that time.
The only barn I remember playing, I feel like I played Tom Fest in a barn. Maybe? I don't know. That might have been left out. Cornerstone, I'm trying to remember. It's
What year was this you're saying, Mick?
It'd either be 93 or 94.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't even there. My first Cornerstone was 97, so I'll stay
I'm thinking 94 because I think that's when 21 came out, was in 94. I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember at all.
That was a long time ago.
It was.
You don't have to remember.
Give me a break. I'm almost 50. Come on.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, man. What? You're almost 50? You look great for being almost 50.
Oh, it's all the
I see your
veganism.
pictures on.
You should think about it.
What do you mean? I am vegan. Jerk.
No, that was actually pointed more towards Mick.
That's towards me.
Oh.
You know, I'm just ganging up with Sergeant Vegan.
Sergeant Vegan, Volume 2. I loved that Sergeant Vegan chat. It was very interesting. And I love that I tried to put Mick on the spot, and he wasn't having it. Like, he wouldn't let me put him on the spot. I'm like, this is the fun part. No.
He wasn't having it at all. It was hilarious.
No, he wasn't having it at all. And I think you even cut some of it, didn't you? Because
I did.
Got like,
It got a little intense.
It got like kind of weird. And I'm like, look, you don't understand. I'm just messing with him. Like, I don't really care. It's just I'm putting him on the spot. Oh, okay. But don't. which is cool. He didn't want Mick to feel left out, even though I was doing it on purpose to make him feel weird. That's what we do. That's what we do here at Coffee Hardcore. We like to make people feel weird.
We try to be extremely awkward.
Yeah! That's right.
Glad this is my first podcast then.
Yeah, you said you were a little nervous, and I was like, what? I'd be like, have you heard us talk? You're like, yeah, I actually like the show. I've listened to the 2 episodes, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But we're going to actually wrap this up here, but I do want to ask you, what is your go-to guilty pleasure TV show?
All right, you might get surprised. I'm not a big action suspense movie guy. I love rom-coms.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
One of my favorite movies is Love Actually.
Huh.
I
Who's
love
in that
watching.
movie?
Let's see, Alan Rickman.
Let's see if it's...
And the dude that plays Rick on Walking Dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of
Is
like
that like an early
Christmas movie.
2000s?
Probably.
Yeah.
We have it on.
I know that movie. Isn't that where the dude is like a music guy and they're making him sing like, he's like an old faded rock star and they make him sing his hit song, but Christmas style?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
That and honestly,
it's not a bad movie.
I really enjoy watching the Gilmore Girls.
This Tuesday, it's Girls' Night In on the new CW.
Oh my God, you're here!
I've never seen it.
No.
How about you, Mick? Have you seen it?
Do you notice how quiet I got?
He loves it.
Listen, every time around this year, my wife starts watching it, and it never fails.
Really?
I get sucked into it. I don't know why.
Is Lorelai realizing she made a mistake?
This is about you being threatened by Sherry.
Christopher, what is going on with you?
What's going on with you, Laura?
Because she bet it all on the wrong guy.
Christopher is not Luke.
It just happens. It happens every single time. And then when the oh my gosh, this is horrible. Then when the Netflix special came out, remember they did like the movie and it was later on. I was totally watching it and I was totally like, why is that person acting like a jerk? I was I was so into it. I was like, why is he acting like that? Why are they doing this? I thought they were going to be together. Why is the girl acting like that? She's being a spoiled little brat. I mean, it was horrible.
That's
totally
funny.
caught up.
That's awesome. It, yeah. I'm learning a new side of Mick that I think I enjoy. So I like Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. I thought that was a great show. Y'all get into that?
Yeah. I got to admit, so every morning, my wife and I get up at 5 o'clock. Dawn doesn't have to, but I'm super busy, so it's we only have a certain amount of hours together during the day, and so we get up at 5. We make coffee and toast. And we watch different DVDs while we're on the exercise bikes. And right now I'm going through, she does Gilmore Girls right now. She's in the middle of that. And I'm in the middle of Buffy.
I'm Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and you are?
Oh, nice. Look at that. Nice segue. To Buffy.
That, you guys have good taste.
We have what?
You have good taste. Buffy and Gilmore Girls.
We do like Oak and Crow coffee.
Yeah, that is true.
You have great taste.
So let's put a link to Oak and Crow coffee. What else? Is there anything else you want us to put a link to?
I don't even know. Sorry, my brain's spent because I also manage a cafe during the day.
Any bands you want to plug? Any other coffee companies? Anything? This is your time to let people know of any music that you think should be heard, or any friends that do either art or make coffee. This is your time.
Why you got to put me on the spot? I would check.
That's what we do.
Check out Snowdrift Coffee, and check out
a link to that.
Makina Coffee.
Where's Snowdrift from?
Snowdrift, I believe that's Illinois. It's my buddy Ant.
Oh,
and then
what do you know?
Makina outside of Philly is my buddy Gabe. Gimme
Are you writing
Coffee.
these down, Mick?
Yes.
Gimme Coffee in Ithaca. As far as bands, man, I'm at I'm going to say Wisdom in Chains at a PA, because they're one of those bands that I wanted to get on my coffee roster, but they went with another company. And one of their guitarists, Chris Mavromatis, he's got the COVID, not feeling so good. So I would like to send him some good wishes. But they're great hardcore. And I believe they're all straight edge, but I'm not positive.
Really? Everyone from Wisdom and Chains?
I believe so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, well, actually, no. The PA members are Luke and what's his name? I don't know why my brain is failing me. The New York part of Wisdom and Chains. Probably not so straight edge.
No.
I'm trying to think. I don't know, man. You put me on the spot. I went blank.
It's all good, man. No worries. Cool. Well, Mick and I would love to talk to you outside of the podcast about seriously doing a coffee and hardcore line. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And
anytime.
Well, I'll talk to Mick about this, but off the top of my head, I think we should donate our side of the sales, kind of like we did with Up the Pups. Like, I know you got to get your money for making it, of course, but I think we should donate to suicide prevention after talking to Larry. I think that'd be a good thing. Are you guys down with that?
Let's bring Larry into this. Let's do this.
Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it. We're going to let you go, brother. Thanks for your time. For sure.
Nice.
Talk to you
later.
later.
Right. Well, thank you guys. It's been great. I can't wait till this comes out, and I'm still a little nervous.
It's okay.
Good, man. Thank you.
Hey, we make us sound smart. We can make anyone sound smart.
That's right.
Nice. Edit.
Edit is my friend.
All right. Well, thanks. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Later, man.
All right.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
What's up? New segment drop. This is a coffee and hardcore coffee review. We're reviewing Oak and Crow coffee. And I got the Road Crew medium coffee. What did you get, Mick?
I got the Into the Void dark, smoky, soulful coffee.
Whoa. You said that very smoky and soulful. I like it. So tell us about your coffee.
Oh, man. So it's definitely smoky, which I really liked. It was probably the best way to describe it would be deep. Not that it was thick, but just as you drank it, it was so dark and smoky. You just felt like you're falling into the coffee. Like the smell, the taste, it was not so dark that you felt like you were being overwhelmed by it. Kind of like how I felt with Just Coffee. Like I felt like I needed to add some stuff to it to kind of tone it down because it was a little too dark for me. But this was just
the super dark is what you got from
right? So and I'm not saying it wasn't good. It was really good. It was just a little maybe too dark for me. But this, even though it says Into the Void, and I felt like it was going to capture my soul, it tasted so good. And when I brewed it the first time, I smelled it and I was like, I never want this aroma to leave my house because it smelled so good. But, man.
You said your wife really liked it too,
Oh,
right?
yeah. She loved it. And then not only did she love the coffee, but just the whole packaging. And then she immediately went to the website and looked up all the merch and all the stuff. And she's like all about it. And they sent us stickers too. And so they're like, we had to fight over the stickers, like who's going to get the sticker and stuff. So honestly, the whole experience from the coffee to the packaging and then looking into it more and seeing all the merch was just, it was an awesome experience. So for me, the Oak and Crow was like, when I drank the coffee, it was an experience. Like I could taste the smokiness, the soulfulness. Like I said, it was just deep. Like I felt like I was falling into it. So it wasn't like a normal, like I actually kind of saved it for special occasions. Like, you know, when Lindsay and I were home.
I still have some of mine too.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
You still have some?
No, I drank it all.
Oh, you drank it all. Yeah, I've been saving mine. Yeah, I know. Like I can order more, I guess.
That's what I need to
like,
do.
This is so good.
We ran out not too long ago, so I need to order some more because it is. We really dig it. So, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out here, out into the universe or to the internet.
Oh, I gotta get on that internet. I'm late on everything.
Whoever's listening, nothing against any of the coffees we've had on before or any of the coffees in the future. Personally, I think it's going to be hard for any coffee company to beat Oak and Crow for me.
Wow. Nice.
I really do. And this is for real. And the reason is because it's, you know, I wrote this little thing out and I sent it to you and you're like, oh, okay. That's in depth. But it just kind of, the smell of it and the taste of it, it reminds me of like badass A+ diner coffee. And that's my favorite.
Nice.
So, you know, I got the Road Crew medium coffee, and I'm pretty sure the Road Crew is what they did for when we did the Up the Pups for 2 Minute Miner.
Okay.
When we were raising money, they made a coffee. And I'm pretty sure he used Road Crew coffee for it, but it's rich, smooth, and full bodied. That's what it says on the package. But I love the way this coffee smells. I also love the aftertaste. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but you know what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. And it's weird, but it reminds me about, like I said, a high-end diner coffee. And that is not a diss at all. To me, that's like a plus, a huge plus. It's a huge compliment coming from me because I love that style of coffee. And it's a comfort coffee. It's rich. It is smooth. It has that starting out your morning grit that I love. It's the working man's working class coffee. The coffee reminds me of tree sapping or sugaring, as they call it in the UP in the fall. And this is like good down to earth, your grandpa wearing Carhartt overalls, work glove wearing coffee. It makes me feel like my day is going to be productive and full of positive energy. And for some reason, that's why I've been saving it, because if I feel like it's going to be like, if I wake up and I'm already grumpy, I'm like, okay, I'm doing the Oak and Crow coffee today. And it puts me in a better mood. Oh, it really does. I know that sounds crazy, but
I like the term you use, comfort coffee, because that's kind of how I felt about it. Like I felt like I could like grab this coffee and then like sit down and read I felt like I should read a good book while I drank it.
Yeah, like a 50s mystery novel.
Yeah, or
yeah, sure, whatever.
No, like because I really dig like the whole British mystery novels. I dig Agatha Christie. I like reading those. But I was thinking more like a Dostoevsky, you know, like the Brothers Kamarov, that kind of book. Like this guy. I don't know. I did read. I'm trying to think which. I read a classic book one time when I was reading this coffee or drinking this coffee, and I can't remember which one it was, but that's what it made me feel like. I felt like I needed to do more than
the Hardy Boys.
No, not the Hardy Boys.
You can admit it.
No, the Hardy Boys. And then that made me think of wrestling. Like, no, I'm just kidding. But no, it was just a really good cup of coffee that made me feel like, I don't know, it was just special. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah. And all that from a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real. And the taste and smell brings back good old memories of the Upper Peninsula when I lived in Iron Mountain, Michigan. As a kid, working in the garden with my grandpa, or just walking through the woods, whatever. Oak and Crow, you did a great job on this one. And so far, no joke, my favorite coffee.
Wow. See, it's a tie for me because Oak and Crow, like, yes, and then I really dug the Bridge City that I got sent to. So I'm kind of like, those two might become something that happens in my house quite a bit. Because
I did like Bridge City, but I've known about Oak and Crow for a while, and they even sent samples to me when we were doing Up the Pup stuff. And I just never, it's weird. Tell me what you think of this. Like, there's drinking coffee, and then there's actually taking a minute and knowing that you have to review something, and your brain goes to a different place. Like when you're trying samples and you're like, oh, this is good, we'll make this into, the Up the Pups coffee, or we'll do this. I feel like that's different than because in the morning I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to drink this Oak and Crow coffee. I'm just going to write how it actually makes me feel. And I'm not going to BS this. I'm just going to actually put down what I think. And I think when you are feeling something and you write it in the moment, it opens up a whole new perspective of what you're doing. Like, if we were reviewing pizza or different foods, I think we'd look at those foods differently than we do just eating it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh no, totally.
So, reviewing these coffees really makes me think about what I'm drinking and my palate and the thoughts it gives me and all these different things. So I would have never thought about it this hard if I didn't have to.
Right. Well, and plus, when you finally have something show up and you try it and you're like, it blows you away. Like, that makes it even cool. It makes it even better because I know we're doing stuff to review and stuff like that, but I've had a good amount of bad coffee in my life, and sometimes the regular stuff that I make is like, man, this is all right, it'll get me through today. But man, when you get something like this that shows up, and you're a little nervous because you're like, we're going to talk about this, and then it actually blows you away. It makes it so much better. And so, it's like you want to actually think about it and,
Well, I do want listeners to know that if we decided to review a coffee and we got it and it was bad, I would reach out to the person and be like, look, we don't think it'd be good for us to review your coffee. I think that would be better than giving it a bad review, don't you?
Yeah. Because I know us well enough to know that it'd be really hard for us to give a bad review because we know that the people connected with it, because that would be our thing. We care so much about people in general.
We want to be honest.
Right. And so we wouldn't want to hurt them. It wouldn't be so much like, dude, your coffee sucks. It would be more of like, oh man.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good that we don't do this one.
Right. Because it's like we can't give a good review. We can't give it justice. It should be left alone. And that doesn't mean it's bad coffee. It just means we as people don't like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I don't want people to think like, oh, they've reviewed coffee and they've only had good things to say about all the coffee they review. But there's a reason for that, because we actually do like it, and we're not going to review something that we don't like, because same with music. Like, why would we want to push out bad music? If we can't get behind a band, we're not going to say good things about them just because, we think we should. No, we're not going to review them. We're not going to have them on our show. So anytime we have a review, it's pretty much going to be good unless Mick, like, you send me something and you just love it and I don't. I'll just be like, hey, it's not my thing,
Right. But so far, it's worked out good.
Only time. Oh yeah. Well, you and I have very similar taste in music.
Yeah.
So I don't see it working out bad.
I don't know. I think I found a band that you'll hate, so I'm going to send it to you the next time we review it.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Just kidding.
Oh, I know he's going to hate this one. Let's see what he says about this.
Oh.
What? What are you doing on?
I'm thinking because we've also had conversations about the type of coffee, because we know that there's like flavored coffee is out for you. So
out for me.
Yeah,
out.
It's
like,
out.
You sent me some flavored coffee, and then I had another friend send me flavored coffee, and it's like, if you want to give me diarrhea and put me in a pissy mood, send me flavored coffee. And don't tell me it's like nowhere on your package does it say it's flavored.
Well, no, and that's the thing is I don't really know that when they gave it to me, I don't know if I didn't think it was, and then after the fact, like after I shipped it, and Lindsay and I kind of talked, and I said something about flavored coffee, and she goes, I think what they gave us was flavored coffee. And I went, oh yeah. Crap. And then it wasn't like a day later. Yeah, I can't have that. So
yeah, Libby instantly knew that it was flavored coffee by smelling it. Like she knows all that coffee stuff. Hey, by the way, Mick.
Yes.
You want to say hello to my wife? I can say that now.
I know you can.
Howdy, Mick.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. If you ever wanted permission to punch him, I give permission for you to punch him. Because I'm a friend and a pastor. So you're free and clear.
I've been looking for an excuse and a blessing to do that. So
you now have it.
Good to have. Thank you.
But congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations. That's so awesome.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we're pretty stoked about it. I got lucky.
No more flavored coffee.
Oh, Glenn says no more flavored coffee.
Yes. Yeah, I've learned the lesson.
Yeah, you screwed him on that one.
I did.
Here, I'll pass you back.
All right.
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you.
I'm back. She's probably like, dang it, you suck. Cool. Awesome.
Great podcast.
Welcome to the Awkward Podcast.
All right, everybody. We are now at the time of the show when we review 3 bands, or at least 3 bands, here on Coffee and Hardcore. And we got some interesting ones this time. At least they're interesting to me. A little different. Some stuff that maybe I quite wouldn't get into, but I'm glad Wiley brought them to my attention, and we're going to talk about them today. So what we got first?
Awesome. We got StrikeFirst with the album Wolves.
Ooh, yeah, this is a good one.
And that's 8 tracks, and that came out August 1st, 2020. So that's a new one. And I would consider this style for listeners, which I know it's coffee and hardcore, but we're going to have bands on here that are more punk rock and are more oi, who influence all that. To me, they're all the same in a way, if that makes sense.
Cross influences and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So this is like oi rock and roll, I would say, and like oi punk rock and roll. And when Wynn sent me this before it came out to hear his new band, it blew me away. The vocals, the guitars, the guitar harmonies together, everything, the way the songwriting was, it's very classic oi songwriting, but it's stepped up a notch. Like the musicianship is phenomenal. What are your thoughts on this?
I guess I wasn't expecting the sound that I heard when I first started listening to it. And I had to go through
it a couple
times.
What do you mean by that? Like you thought it was going to be heavier?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be heavier. I wasn't expecting the rock and roll aspects. And so at the first time listening through, I was like, do I dig this or do I not dig this? I had to think for a second. And then
because it caught you off guard a little bit?
Totally. But then I listened to...
Wait, coffee and rock and roll?
Yeah. But the 2 songs that kind of stood out to me was Dirty Kids and the Dead End Boys. And I don't know, they just kind of, just the energy behind them and the kind of this almost like a sing-along kind of feel. And so it grew on me. the more I listen to it. So I was really kind of stoked to continue to listen and hear more of it. And I don't know, it bit me good enough to where I was like, dude, this is a good album. Like, I like it all the way through. 8 tracks. It's good.
Yeah, we talk about Dirty Kids later on in this show with Win and why he wrote it, or his friend wrote it, right? Or is there a guitar player?
Well, I think so. Yeah.
Well, if you listen, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll know the story.
Towards the end there, you'll know the story. Yeah, we talk about Dead End Boys too. Dead End Boys and Dirty Kids and Wolves and Unbreak. Actually, I think it opens great.
Yeah,
I think all these tracks are great, man. When they do an Oasis cover, right? Isn't that?
Yep. Sure.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I just think this is a great album. I highly recommend it. The drumming on it is phenomenal. The guitar playing is great. Wynn's vocals are great. Wynn's never really sang for a band. Like, he's done backup and he's helped out and done stuff, but this is like to my knowledge, this is his first band that he actually does lead in, and it couldn't be better as your first record as a singer.
Right.
So I remember my first album or my first band as a singer back when I was 15 was terrible. So Wynn, I give this album a must listen to.
Yeah, definitely.
Good work. So next, what do we got next?
Which one do you want to do next? You want to do Counterpoint next?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to do Counterpoint. I guess it's their demo because it's 4 songs. It was released in December of 2019, and I'm pretty sure they're working on new stuff.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. Yeah.
Good guys, great guys. Love this band. I love like the whole look of it. I love that youth crew, hardcore, kind of look to it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I went. To me, like anytime,
like Chain of Strength, kind of.
Yeah, and then when your album or your demo starts with intro, and then it goes into a song that's also the name of your band, right? I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, I guarantee this is a youth crew band. I was like, I know it has to be.
Yeah.
And then it totally kicked in, and I was like, why can't, like, there's no way you can diss it because it totally has that feel. and the the intro into that first song, I was like, yes, I want to do like windmills and pick up change, all of that. I'm like, yes.
I love it, and it's a typical in a good way, by the way. Like, you write a record or an EP and you don't know your band name yet, and you're like, "What are our song titles, or what do we say in our songs?" Oh, Counterpoint. That's a badass name, like stuff like that.
Right.
We're going through that right now with this new project that I'm playing drums in. Like, we don't have a name, and so I'm just waiting, to read some of the lyrics or to read some of the song titles and be like, yeah, let's just call it, A plus B equals W. I don't know. But I thought that was cool. Like, Worth Self has that too. We reviewed them in the first episode. Like, they have a song called Worth Self, and, they're probably like, hey, that's a cool name. That should be our band name.
That should be it.
But yeah, this is like straight up youth crew hardcore, and it is done extremely well.
Yes.
I really like this band. This band's merch game is on point. They just released these new Positive Hardcore hoodies. Straight up old school 80s, 90s looking youth crew hoodies. Love it. Love the look. Love the sound. And I get it. Like, I'm a sucker for this kind of music. And I know it's got its own look and like people follow that pattern, but it's good music. This is really well done.
Well, I dig the guitar tone. I mean, when I kicked the first song and the intro, I was like, I'm already hooked, because the guitar tone to me was just on point. I don't know. That's what grabbed me. I was like, the first thing that grabbed me on the album was the guitar tone. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, yes, that right there.
Let's drop a song. Let's play a song for people right now.
All right.
All right, the next one we got for you all is the Kreutzer Sonata from here in Chicago, Illinois. It's their 12-song release from June of 2019. And Adam from the Kreutzer Sonata actually does guest vocals on the new 2 Minute Minor record that will probably already be out by the time this podcast drops, November 2nd.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on this? This is their second record, by the way.
This is the second record. Yeah. I to be honest with you, I didn't know what to think. Out of the three that we're doing this time, they're not my favorite. What does catch me though is the bass tone. I love the bass tone on it. I was extremely intrigued that the name of the band is based off a Tolstoy book, and then also from a symphony from Beethoven. I thought that was crazy interesting. I don't know. It was just different. I will say this. It's fast. it's a whole lot of action, like almost like a scary action movie. Like it's
like a
almost
scary 90s action movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, like the whole, like if you could take.
Are we talking like a B action or like
No, like one of those movies that it's scary, it's a thriller, there's action, and maybe the uppity critics don't like it, but everybody else and their brother are like, dude, you got to go watch this movie. I'm like, well, you know, the critics gave it like a cult classic. That's what I was trying. So that's kind of how I felt. Like
the critics gave it like 4 upside down spilled popcorn bags.
Right. But you got to go see it.
Let's go! From Montreal on the day she turned 24, there's a servant on the floor of the Chelsea Hotel. Julia, where are you now? Tommy, Sydney.
So that's kind of how I felt. It wasn't out of all of them. It wasn't my, it wasn't the one that stood out the most, but there was enough. I don't know how to explain it.
But don't you think it was the most, okay. Wasn't it the most different though?
Yes.
The most unique.
Yes, the most unique. And I'm not dissing it. Like, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying out of the 3, it was different. Yeah. I don't know.
I've played a few shows with these guys, and Adam, the singer, nicest dude ever in the whole world. Seriously, if you were like, dude, I'm cold, he'd be like, oh, here's my shirt. You can have it. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. Dude is the nicest guy ever. He also works at Liars Club, which is my favorite club in Chicago. Dude lives and breathes local music and to help people. Just a nice guy. And I'm going to be honest with you. I agree with what you're saying a little bit.
Okay.
When I first heard them, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this is for me. I'm not sure if this is. I went and saw them at a show, and I was like, I don't know. I get it. It's cool. It's entertaining. They're fast. And then I bought the record, the first record, and I started listening to it. I was like, this is really, really good. And then we played with them at a show in this like abandoned like tool shop or whatever it was, where they had like cars in the back. And I was going to say videotaped, but I was dating myself. I recorded on my phone, not videotaped, a few of their songs. And I was like, I got it in that moment as I was recording. I'm like, I get this. From seeing them, not knowing what I thought of it, wasn't my favorite, to listening to the record, kind of falling in love with it, and then videotape, recording it, and finally getting it. I'm like, I get this.
Over
And those are some of my favorite bands. It happens with my favorite bands. I don't get them at first because it's so different, or the vocals are weird because they're too unique and not a lot of people are doing it. So I'm like, I don't know. Your brain doesn't. There's no familiarity with it, so your brain doesn't really connect. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I dig that.
But then when it becomes familiar and you listen to it for enough, you finally hear how good everything really is, even though it might be a wall of sound. Right. And that's how I feel like the Kreutzer Sonata is. I think this is a phenomenal second record, a follow-up to their first record. I know they're working on new stuff, and I'm excited for it. I love the gritty, raspy vocals. Like, he sounds like, if he was a cartoon, I feel like he would be like this rat that came out of a gutter. You know what I mean? Like this dirty old punk rock rat just like screaming at you. Like his ear's like missing a part of his ear, and he's got a punk rock jacket on. He's like, you know, and it's like, I love it. I love everything about it. It's so dirty, but it's so well put together musically.
Well, so let me ask you this, because I haven't seen them live, and I was looking for some live footage of them online, and I hadn't found anything yet. Are they? I mean, is the singer like crazy?
Well, what do you mean? He's not like jumping up and hanging off the rafters and stuff, but he gets into it, and he gets the crowd involved into it, and he puts on a really good show. Yeah, he does. He gets into it. Yeah. So I recommend the Kreutzer Sonata. Mick, wah, wah, wah.
No, see now. I don't say that. I'm just saying, out of the three, it wasn't my favorite, but I would recommend them. I tell people to listen to, because here's what I like about any band. I'm gonna recommend them if they're an experience, which I feel like they are. Then then I'm gonna recommend them, because that's why I asked about their stage presence, because I was like, the music sounds insane. Like, so is that what they are on stage? And so you're kind of like, he works the crowd. So I'm like, okay, so it's an experience to listen to it. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I'm not dissing it at all. So
good. It's good. I'm excited for their third record coming out.
Awesome.
But I mean, hey man, it's great to be honest. That's why I picked you as a co-host, and that's why I'm sure you wanted to be on the show, because we try to keep it real.
Right.
And so out of three things, you got to like one the least. So right. I get it. But I love the Kreutzer Sonata, and Adam, you're a great guy. Love you, brother.
Awesome.
Stick around. Listen to the chat with Win from StrikeFirst.
Yep.
We are with Win of StrikeFirst, Fatskins, Antagonizer, ATL, and formerly of DDC, which is the Drink and Destroy crew. Welcome to Coffee and Hardcore.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's great that you're on the show. So Mick and I review the StrikeFirst album, but I own it on vinyl. I listened to it a bunch. You sent us the digital files, and then a few days later, it came out on Spotify. So that was awesome, because I could just listen to it while I was working. And I've probably listened to, 8 songs?
Yeah.
I listened to that record, I don't know, probably like 15, 20 times already.
Oh, good.
I think it's a great record. You guys do a cover on it too, right?
Yeah.
What? Oasis?
Oasis. I'm a huge Oasis fan. So, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do one since DDC for years, and it just never kind of fit.
What do you think the reason for not fitting was?
I don't know if it was just because we had this in DDC. We had this backlog of cover ideas that was as long as your arm, and so I don't know. We just and DDC didn't operate like StrikeFirst. DDC, it was like a big, clunky, bureaucratic mess to get anything done. And so like StrikeFirst, the process is super streamlined, and it feels like if we want to do something, we just do it, and it works great. And
isn't that a great feeling?
It is, and
because I was in a band like that too, where everything was extremely hard to do, and then I was in another band where everything came easy, and it's just a breath of fresh air.
It was wild. This StrikeFirst is the easiest band I've ever been in, and so I don't want to jump too far ahead if you've got things to ask me. So
yeah, I've got some things to ask you, but if it's fine if you want to talk about it, like your writing process and everything, because I know I listened to another podcast that you were on and you talked about it a little bit, but you could share with people your writing process.
So I, like with DDC and Fatskins, I write everything. Short of the lyrics. Oxley and Fatskins always wrote the lyrics, and DDC, the lyric writing was kind of split between me and Shane, but all of the music was written by me. And StrikeFirst it's kind of no different than that, except Dirty Kids was written by our rhythm guitar player. But I write everything at home. I work from home, so I have like my kind of little home studio here set up, and nothing that I would ever like put out that I record here, but I record everything here, and then I put it up on like Google Drive or whatever, and the guys listen to it, and then so they kind of have an idea of where I'm going with the songs, and then so I can upload something on Monday. We practice on Sunday, so I can upload something during the week, and those guys just go after it, and they'll learn it during the week, and then when we get together at practice, we try it out and see how it fits, and that's when we kind of finalize the arrangement. And sometimes the way I have it written, they're like, "Oh, nope, that's it. It's perfect the way it is." And then other times it's like, "Oh, that part drags a little, or it's too short, or whatever." So we modify it, and then I'll even rearrange it, the file on my computer, and then re-upload it so everybody can kind of lock into that. And it seems to work really well. And with the Fatskins, that's the only way I could do it because the rest of the band is in Phoenix and I'm in Atlanta. So I would write everything and send it to Oxley, and he would listen to it. And he's not a musician, but he has a great ear for arrangement. And he would say, "Oh, the part at 1 minute 52 seconds, it goes too long, so you need to shorten that. And then that outro part that starts at 3:04, that needs to be twice as long," or whatever. And he had a great ear for that kind of stuff. So that's how the songwriting for that happened. And then it just seemed kind of natural to kind of carry it over into my other projects, DDC and StrikeFirst. So, and now that I'm in Antagonizers, I've kind of started doing the same thing, writing stuff here. And
do you play bass in that band, or do you play guitar?
I play bass in Antagonizers.
And is that kind of more like like you take kind of like more of a back seat in that band?
No, I've actually, I'm actually kind of one of the main people in Antagonizers now, because I jumped right in. Well, okay, so the whole reason I started.
Well, you're fairly new to that band, right? Like a year?
Yeah, just about a year now, which seems kind of crazy that it's been that long. It doesn't seem that long, but so their bass player, Billy, who plays keyboards, he's kind of not full time, but he just jumps in and we're like, "Hey, we're going to play this show. We're going to do this. Come play keys with us."
Mm-hmm.
But Billy was the bass player, and he has a lot of irons in the fire as far as music is concerned. So his time was kind of torn, and he's not a bass player. He plays keys. That's his thing. But he learned to play bass just for Antagonizers, but he doesn't really write that style. So it was really Richard doing all the music writing and Bo doing all the lyric writing, or most of the lyric writing. I know Richard writes some of the lyrics and stuff too. And so I said, "I'll come in part-time and I'll help you guys finish this album." And
we all know what happens then. Full-time member.
And yeah, that's right. And then and Bo's a car salesman on top of that, so he car salesman me into being.
Yeah. I know all about that.
Yeah.
Hey Mick, do you want to do this with me? Hey Mick, do this with me.
Right.
But it's fun to do, and I haven't played bass in a band for 20-something years. So, but I mean, I wrote all the Fatskins bass lines, and I wrote all the DDC bass lines. So all that, I mean, that was all. I was already writing bass lines anyway. So
real quick, people are listening to this. Because you're like the first kind of I guess, traditional hardcore music guests that we've had on the show, even though there's, elements of that stuff. But so people who don't know Fatskins, explain to them kind of the style of that band.
Fatskins is just, we started in 96, late 96, early 97.
So are you original member of that band?
Yes. And in fact, the lineup today, with the exception of our other guitar player, is the same lineup that we recorded most of that stuff in the 90s with.
Oh, wow. That's
the
impressive.
only difference, so our first album was Thinking Like a Fatskin. That was the first thing we ever released. And we had a different drummer on that. But every release after that was Wayne that plays drums. And he still is in the band playing drums. So it's me on guitar, Mike on vocals, Tom on bass, and Wayne on drums. And then we wanted that fuller sound. And I like having two guitars. And so we added our buddy Chris. And like I said, they all live in Phoenix. So, but yeah, so that, and that, I guess we're very, if you're at all familiar with 90s American Oi, we are 90s American Oi. And
oh yeah.
And I still feel like we kind of rock that 90s American Oi feel, whereas DDC, I think, felt a little more,
modern,
melodic, and maybe newer sounding. Not that newer is bad necessarily, but it just had kind of a more, I would say, more of a 2000s feel to it.
Yeah, it was kind of more produced and bigger, I guess, sounding.
Yeah,
in a good way.
And a lot of elements of like DDC stuff was more reminiscent to me of like the last two like Anti-Heroes albums. It was a little faster, and there were a little more melodic elements to it, and maybe even a little more hardcore elements to it.
Yeah, I would say so.
Not like metalcore,
like hardcore Oi.
Yeah, without the metal overtones. Like a lot of hardcore has nowadays, like really heavy on the the metalcore side and stuff. It was none of that. It was the faster, it was faster palm muting and stuff like that. So.
Bones, you've tasted blood. Now your future's clear as mud. There's a reason to pack it in. Use your power from within. Rise above, Billy. Hold your head up high. Rise above, Billy. Stand upon your pride. Rise above, Billy. Never gonna let you drown. Rise above, Billy. Face the wall and tear it down.
That kind of hardcore, not like heavy breakdowns, although we did some kind of heavy breakdowns too.
And then Antagonizers ATL. Because I've heard them a couple times. I think I might have seen them once, possibly. I'm not sure. But
so
did they ever?
They played that Live and Loud in Chicago that we played. That last one.
Okay, yeah. So I did see them. Yeah. But their sound is a little different now, right? Like it's a little more. Do they have a little bit more like reggae elements to it?
Well,
like, skinhead reggae stuff.
There's, I think on the new album, it's really only that one song that has Monkey from Syrup in it, which was cool.
because I think I saw some live videos of you guys or something, and I heard like a reggae element. I was like, this is really rad. I like this.
Yeah,
so maybe it was just that song.
There is that Hold On, Hold Strong, which for the most part, I think for the most part, that was one of my contributions to the new album. Not the reggae part. I think that was Bodon's idea. I don't know. I'm going to screw it up.
Cool.
Probably somebody will be annoyed with something I said, but who cares? Right? I'm doing my best to give credit where it's due, but I like Antagonizers because it's a little more headbutting and contentious than StrikeFirst, but everybody has, like, especially Richard and Bodon have great ideas that they like to bring to the table. They just butt heads because they're like, this is my idea, and no, this is my idea, and the two ideas clash, and then eventually there's some fallout, and they hug and make up.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's all how the song turns out. It doesn't matter whose idea it is.
Push the pedal down, holy shit, I'm blown away. Go back in my seat to live another day. Memories race by, can't see what lies ahead. After tears and cries, I'm going down the dead end train. A second guess can kill you, so don't you be misled. Nothing's as it seems, and the pictures start to fade. Think you've got it figured out, life just laughs away, go.
But no, I like playing with Fatskins. We don't do a whole lot. We play shows here and there, and
which band are you talking about? Antagonizers?
Yeah. Antagonizers and StrikeFirst. That's like my two active bands, and then Fatskins is more just fun. We play some fests here and there, and we record.
But you do got some new music coming up, don't you? Or is that on the hush hush?
No. That's like I said, I'm an open book, man. No, I just got to go in and record my parts, and man, it's like 16 songs. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's due because you guys come out with stuff like every 5 years or 6 years, right?
Let's see.
When was the last record?
The last record was 2016. So yeah, it's been like 4 years.
Oh, okay.
But you know, life happens, and
of course.
So and then Oxley's Midnight Runners and stuff too. So
yeah, which we played. Yeah, we all played. Yeah, I was gonna say I had that in my notes. I said Drink and Destroy crew, a 2 Minute Minor. We played together at Cobra Lounge for that festival, and all those bands that we're talking about were there, and that was a great time. And then at DDC and 2 Minute Minor, we played that festival in Connecticut with Stars and Stripes,
Man, that
Jack
was
Kelly of Slapshots, other band. Yeah, that was so much fun.
That was only like like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was April of last year.
2019.
Yeah.
You remember?
What is it now, October?
Shows were fun.
Yeah, back when you could play, yeah. But yeah, so you also did guest vocals on the newest 2 Minute Minor album coming up that we actually just got the album for today in the mail.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was awesome having you on it. So that releases November 2nd. Yeah! All I got to say is I love all the bands that you've done, for real. But StrikeFirst is it's my favorite. It's so good. It's like that oi rock and roll sound, and it's just all the songs. I don't know. They catch me. I want to listen to this record more and more when I listen to it. Like, I love DDC and I listen to DDC records often, but this stuff, especially when you sent it to me before it was out, I was like, yeah, I get to listen to new stuff. And I was floored. I was blown away by it.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Because I was a little sketchy because it's my first real project as a front man, and
sure.
So I thought,
but you've done backup vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I did do. Shane was out of the band, he was out of DDC for a little over a year for medical stuff. And
oh, that's right. You sang some shows.
Well, I sang on a recording also that split with Assault and Battery.
Oh yeah.
With Bitter End and Nina Dennis and all that. That's all me on vocals.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that. Yeah, and I have heard that.
Yeah, which is funny because if you listen to like Bitter End and some of the songs on that, it has more of a StrikeFirst feel to it, which is kind of weird to me because that was 6 years ago.
I'm gonna go back and listen to that.
You should, because I really love it, and we still play Bitter End because that song I still listen to it and I go, sometimes I hate to sound like I'm being egotistical or anything, but sometimes I go back and listen to some of the songs I've written and I'm kind of shocked that it was me that wrote that song, because I go, man, this is such a good song that I can't believe that I wrote this song. You know,
I've had those moments. I've also had the opposite.
Oh, yeah, I've had those too.
I can't believe I put this shit out.
I know, dude. There's some of the DDC stuff where I was like, can we please stop playing this song? I hate this song. Like, I'm like, I'm embarrassed by this song. Let's not play this song. And
yeah, I know I know all that.
So there's some of that stuff that went on, but with StrikeFirst, I don't have any of that. I'm like, this is good. I like this stuff. I wasn't sure how people would take it, but there was also this point where I was like, man, I don't care if people like it because I like it and I feel good about this album. And I think it's the first. It's
really good.
I think it was the first time where I was like, I wonder if people are going to like it. And of course I thought about that. Are people going to like this? But it's the first time that me and the guys in the band went, man, this is good. We got something here. The songs are kind of a mishmash because like Fight Like Hell, that's an old DDC song. That's one of those songs that
Fight like hell tonight, you gotta fight. That's a good song.
So that's one of the songs from the Assault and Battery split that I sang, that I wrote.
Yeah.
Dead End Boys was supposed to be a DDC song for the new album.
Yeah. Is that the one? Can you talk the chorus lyrics to that song?
Oh, we are the Dead End Boys. Dead.
Yeah.
Dead End Boys. Yeah.
So what is that song? I think I know, but what is that song about?
Oh, it's just about, skinheads, punks, and dirty kids. It's about, I don't know. It's just.
But I mean, is there a deeper message to it than just that, though?
No. I just think it's about all the guys in my band who grew up poor, that ended up in the subculture, that we just, you got called names because you were poor, you got treated like crap because you were in the subculture, and so it's, crucified but still alive, dead end boys till the day I die. It's not. It's basically about your roots, growing up in a subculture, and even now at this age, I still kind of feel like I'm that dead end boy, and that's that's it's not a negative thing. Dead end boy is what people think of us.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I didn't know if the message. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you clarified that. I didn't know where the message was going with it.
Yeah, it was kind of like society viewed us as dead end boys, and we're like, yeah, we're dead end boys, but that's not going to stop us. It's kind of that,
Sure.
And I think everybody kind of relates to it. And Robbie, our rhythm guitar player, he helped me write a little bit. I had that first verse written, and then he came in and he helped me with the second verse. So he had that song Dirty Kids, which was a song from his acoustic set. And I said, man, let's play that as a band. Let's do that. And he sings on that. That's him. That's the only song on the album I don't sing. That's Robbie singing that song. And so his song Dirty Kids is kind of like Dead End Boys, that they were just dirty kids. They would ride around on their bikes and they had food stamps and they're, the cupboards were empty and they had lice and, just,
You say
just
lice?
that kind of, but they look back on that time so fondly because they felt so free that they were just riding around on their skateboards and hanging out and having fun, and they didn't have any rules. And so when we were working on the second verse of Dead End Boys, that's why it's skinheads, punks, and dirty kids. So we kind of incorporated Robbie's idea of a dead end boy as a dirty kid into that song.
So do you feel like where you grew up, like, because some of the stories that you're telling sounds a lot like how I grew up in West Virginia, like dirt poor. I grew up in a lot of coal mining towns. And, in West Virginia, there's not a whole lot of oi punk rock, or really, there wasn't really any hardcore stuff until like later on in the 90s when I was in high school and everything. But a lot of us, around this area kind of took from some of that, and some of the 90s hardcore angst that was kind of coming out of West Virginia was kind of from that bent, I guess. So is that kind of how you guys write from, like from your childhood, like that kind of stuff going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny that I grew up exactly the opposite of the way you did. I mean, other than the poor part, I grew up in the 80s in California.
Wow.
So I had all of these, so I have an older brother, and he was like friends with all the different like subcultures and stuff, skaters and punks and cholos. And I mean, you name it. He kind of made his way through all those circles and was friends with all those guys. But we had punks that lived on my block and skinheads that lived 2 blocks away. And there were mods and rude boys. And I mean, you name it. I just thought that was normal. I thought everybody just had that everywhere. I just thought it was so common because, again, it's California in the 80s when it was huge. Right. And so I just thought that I thought everybody was a metalhead or into hip hop or a skinhead or a punk. Like I just thought everybody,
like they all had a subculture they belonged to.
Yeah, they all had a subculture, and it was very cliquish. And but it wasn't so cliquish that they didn't get along with. I grew up with guys that were in like 4-H and gang.
4-H, like the horse club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
No, seriously, like all the shit kickers. Like I knew everybody. And I still talk to some of those people. The preppies and all that stuff. The metalheads. Like I grew up with all those people, and I still have. If they're good people, I still talk to them, regardless of what their background is, and
regardless if they were in 4-H.
Regardless if they were in 4-H. I can kind of tell you right now, I don't really talk to many of the 4-H people, but there were.
It's so funny because I can relate to the 4-H comments because the high school that I went to, like we had 4-H and then we had the Future Farmers of America.
Yeah. And FFA with their purple jackets or whatever it is.
Yep. And we had something called Tractor Day, and people would drive their tractors to the school.
Do you hear yourself?
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, man.
That is amazing. I'm glad I learned that today.
Yep. They would drive their tractors. They had their own Spirit Week, and one day was Tractor Day, and they would drive their tractors to the school and park it in the parking lot. Yeah.
Well, see that's more Ronnie's speed because he lives on a chicken farm.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, but so I draw on that stuff a lot. Growing up being poor, and like I'm not poor now. I'm not rich by any means, but like I have a good job and a nice house, and like so like the story of Dead End Boys, like I was poor and I refused to let that stop me.
Yeah.
It's that never say die attitude. And I'm sure you can hear it a lot in my songwriting, that kind of stuff. Bitter End and Carry On and Dead End Boys and Unbreakable, like all those songs are about that, just that, like the human spirit, the inability to, ever accept defeat,
Yeah. It made for some good tunes too.
Yeah, man. And I'm like the optimist. Like I'm just like, there's got to be a solution. There's got to be a way. And
good.
So I'm that guy. Like that real never say die attitude. It's probably because I grew up watching the Goonies or something, huh?
So what future plans does StrikeFirst have?
With DDC, I just felt like I was begging people to please do your part in this band. Please. Like, and I just reached this point and I'm like, why am I begging people to be part of a badass band? Either you want to be in this band or I don't want to mess with you. With DDC, because of that, it was very, very hard to get new songs written because it just felt like just getting people to, like I said, I upload all these songs. They're basically complete songs, bass lines, everything. And it was just almost impossible to get anybody to do their part. So it took forever for us to write. As soon as we got done recording, we started writing new songs. And I think we already
have StrikeFirst.
Yeah. So I think we already have like 12 songs written musically.
Oh, for new stuff.
Yeah. And we don't have them locked down, like completely locked down musically. We're still kind of working through them. But I'm in that part where I'm starting to put like choruses together and kind of feeling what works vocally and stuff like that. So, man, we are not resting. This band is just going. And because I just didn't want to do that DDC thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
It just took us forever, man. And
yeah, you feel like you're dragging your feet.
Yeah, and like we haven't played the set in probably 2 months. But with these guys, we could just, if you were like, you have a show tomorrow, everybody would be like, all right, I'll be ready. And we would just bang the set out and have a killer show.
So what's your guilt? This is like a weird segue. What's your guilty pleasure TV show? Because I know you and I both talked about, we both like Friends.
Oh my God!
Oh God, I love Friends, and I don't feel a tiny bit guilty about that.
I know, I did, and you were like, "Dude, own it."
Yeah,
remember that?
Okay, if I had to call anything guilty pleasure, I would have to say it's my absolute love of Ghost Adventures.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, and there's another one that I just yell at him. I'm like, "That's not a ghost, you idiot."
Why is that guilty for you?
I don't know. You said guilty pleasures. I don't ever feel guilty about TV shows, but that's as close as I would get to it, I guess.
What about you, Mick?
TV show? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be the because I actually do like it, and my wife got me addicted to it. It's gonna have to be that stupid British baking show.
Oh, that's a great show, man.
It's gonna have to be.
My wife likes it too. It's so weird saying that, by the way.
It's great.
It's just so new. Last question I got is any bands that you can plug that people should listen to?
Well, Antagonizers.
Well, that you're not in.
That I'm not in. Hanging Judge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hanging Judge is great.
And
they're still kicking it, eh?
Yeah, and Richard, the lead guitar player from Antagonizers, that's his band that he does vocals in.
And the bass player is in the Queers, right?
Yeah, Chris. He used to be in DDC also.
I did know that, yeah, because he was printing stuff, and I know we were talking back and forth. He was asking me some questions about printing.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And the guy he does printing with, Jeremy Paul, he's in Patriot also, but he's in Hanging Judge as well.
So did yes, he was there at the fest because you introduced me to him. That's right.
Yeah. And our bass player, Jordan, plays guitar in a band called the Rotten Stitches.
Oh, I don't know them. The Rotten Stitches.
Really like fast street punk stuff. Yeah, Rotten Stitches. And Ronnie's band, Die 985.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Anytime you want me to do leads or do podcasts or do backup vocals or whatever you want, man, let me know.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time, and we appreciate your talent, so we get to listen to a great record.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for tuning in
to episode 4 of the Coffee and Hardcore podcast. I have a cabin in the Finger Lakes. Next month, we have a very special episode, our Christmas episode. We interview Rich from Everybody's Coffee. We also talk to Steven from the Frisky Morris podcast. Lots of great stuff, some giveaways too, so you're going to want to tune in. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Hi, this is HR Human Rights from Bad Brains, and you're listening to Coffee and Hardcore Podcast. Much love and positivity.
Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, boom it on. Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee